Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Who will be the next manager at Manchester United? Now, Mauricio Pochettino is Manchester United's #1 choice. Fabrizio Romano has already confirmed. Manchester United have been in talks with Pochettino. Manchester United need to pay PSG 10 million in compensation to get Pochettino. Pochettino is prepared to quit PSG to become Manchester United manager now. Pochettino is said to be unhappy in the French capital. He's got a full season left on his PSG contract. Manchester United should have got Pochettino after the sacking of Jose Mourinho, but the club decided to go with Solskjaer instead. Would Pochettino be the right man for Manchester United? Well, Pochettino hasn't really won anything, has he? But despite that, I still reckon that he's a good manager. He's proven in the Premier League, which is beneficial. Pochettino did enjoy a 5.5-year tenure with Tottenham. And analysing the vast majority of his tenure at Tottenham were competing in and out of the top 4. In 2018, Pochettino guided Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final. And before, he managed Southampton. He wasn't at Southampton that long, but he still guided Southampton to their highest ever finish in the Premier League. So they're the clubs he has managed in the Premier League, and before he managed Espanyol. If Zidane goes to PSG, Manchester United will get Pochettino. I have been hearing that PSG have made contact with Zidane. Zidane's been linked with the managerial role at Man United. But he said not so long ago that Zidane is not interested in taking over at Manchester United, as he doesn't feel ready for the Premier League at the moment. I think that there's a lot of United fans that wanted Zidane. Said the other week that Zidane was actually interested in taking over at Man United, but Zidane's wife was not attracted to the idea of living in Manchester. You know, Zidane's close relationships with Ronaldo and Varane, I thought would have persuaded him to join. You know, Zidane is managerless because he left Real Madrid in the summer. And you've got to admire what he did at Real Madrid. He won a lot of trophies at Real Madrid, so reflecting on that, he's got a decent pedigree behind him. But he's not yet managed in the Premier League, and I said it would have been good for Zidane to come and experience the Premier League. I'm hearing as well that Manchester United could line up a move for Ralf Rangnick if Man United miss out on Pochettino this season. Brendan Rodgers, there's been a lot of talks about him. Brendan Rodgers has been contacted by Manchester United. Recently, Rodgers dismissed links to Man United. He said, "I'm proud to be at Leicester." The other week, Rodgers was house hunting in Cheshire, so that stirred some suggestions up, and it did mention at that point that Rodgers was the favourite to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And the Manchester Evening News said earlier on this season that Man United were ready to trigger the clause in Rodgers' contract. Earlier on this season, it actually said that Rodgers had already verbally agreed to become Man United's new manager. Rodgers could be under some pressure now because Leicester have had a poor season. But you've got to admire what he's done at Leicester. So far at Leicester he's won the Community Shield in the FA Cup. He's been Leicester manager for almost 3 years and he's got a contract with Leicester until 2025. Erik ten Hag, he's been spoken about a lot. I've been hearing that he's interested in the Man United job. I presume there's a lot of United fans that would take Erik ten Hag. I think he'd be a good fit for United. I think he's done really, really well at Ajax. He's won a few trophies with them and he's been Ajax manager for 4 years. I like the way he develops the youth. So Man United are looking for their 5th permanent manager since Ferguson. At the moment, Michael Carrick is the interim manager. So obviously he'll be in charge for the forthcoming games. It got announced on Sunday that Michael Carrick taken over as the interim manager following the dismissal of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'm hearing that Man United are looking to appoint another interim manager until the end of the season, and then obviously get a permanent manager at the end of the season. But yes, as you all know, on Sunday morning, Solskjaer was officially sacked by Manchester United as manager following the 4-1 defeat to Watford. Reflecting on the defeat to Watford, Man United have lost 5 of their last 7 in the Premier League, and Man United have only won 1 of their last 7 games in all competitions. Not so long ago, Solskjaer gave a farewell interview and he got very emotional towards the end of that farewell interview. Manchester United paid Solskjaer around $7.5 million because in the summer he signed a 3-year contract with an option of a further year. Manchester United should have never gave Solskjaer that contract. But despite him getting sacked, we'll always adore Solskjaer. Reflecting on what he's done for the club. Solskjaer will always be a legend of Manchester United. Solskjaer was a very good player. He endured 11 years as a player for Man United. He flourished under Sir Alex Ferguson's guidance. Ole's most iconic moment as a player was when he scored the winning goal in the Champions League final at Nou Camp back in 1999. He won the club the treble, and that of course is the club's greatest achievement. Ollie had a proven pedigree as a player because he won a lot of trophies as a player, but unfortunately he didn't have a proven pedigree as a manager. You know, Ollie was in charge of Manchester United for almost 3 years. He taken over as caretaker manager in December 2018, did well as the caretaker manager. So reflecting on that, the club decided to give him the job on a permanent basis back in March 2019. And this season was Solskjaer's third full season when he was at Man United, and I did say, you know, at the start of this season that this season was always going to be massive for him. But obviously, at the start of the season, the pressure was on Solskjaer, reflecting on the signings Man United did make in this year's summer transfer window. We made 4 signings, and 3 of the 4 signings were major signings. And we spent around £141 million. Plus, the board backed Solskjaer well in this year's summer transfer window. You know, the Glazers backed him, Ed Woodward backed him, our director of football John Murtaugh backed him, and Darren Fletcher backed him. He enjoyed like 5 transfer windows when he was United manager. But like I said on my reaction to him getting the sack, you know, Solskjaer was never capable of winning trophies as United manager. And of course he didn't win a trophy when he was United manager. Manchester United have not won a trophy since 2017. You know, the expectations were far too high for him to exceed as manager, and he was in a position that he shouldn't have ever been in. But Ollie knew when he'd taken over at Manchester United it was going to be a massive job. Not only a massive job, a difficult job as well. You know, he was managing one of the biggest clubs in the world. But reflecting on the poor performances, not all of the blame stemmed from Solskjaer. Yes, he was partly to blame, you know, because his tactics and his team selections and that were questioned a lot. But not all of the blame stemmed from him. No way. You know, there's also players that have to take responsibility for those poor performances. The clubs Solskjaer has managed in his managerial career, obviously managed Manchester United's reserve team for a couple of years. He managed Cardiff. His record at Cardiff was terrible. He got Cardiff relegated. That's why he got sacked from Cardiff. He enjoyed 2 spells at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles and that with them, but they're not a big club. And of course he managed Manchester United's senior team. You know, there was some positives to take. You know, when Solskjaer was Man United manager, you know, I thought when he was United manager, he developed the youth well. He brought consistency back in certain aspects. He did make good signings when he was United manager. You know, Solskjaer did sign 14 players when he was United manager. You know, in the summer of 2019, he recommended Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. In January 2020, he brought Bruno Fernandes in and Odin Igalo in on loan. In the summer of 2020, he brought Edison Cavani in. Alex Telles, Donnie Van Der Beek, Amad Diallo and Facundo Pellistri. And in this year's summer transfer window, he brought Heaton in, Jadon Sancho, Rafael Varane and re-signed Ronaldo after 12 years. So they are the signings he made when he was United manager. And Man United spent over £400 million under the Solskjaer era. In Solskjaer's first full season, don't forget he got us to 3 semi-finals. He also got us a 3rd place finish. In his second full season, he got us to the EFL Cup semi-final, the FA Cup quarter-final and the Europa League final. That Europa League final was Ollie's first major final as United manager, but unfortunately we didn't win it. And obviously in his second full season he got us a 2nd place finish. When Ollie was United manager as well, Manchester United went on a 29 game unbeaten run away from home in the Premier League. When we had Ollie, we was far superior away from home than we was at home, surprisingly. Ollie also got rid of a lot of players when he was United manager. He loaned players out, he got rid of players permanently. The players he did loan out, he obviously loaned Brandon Williams out, Axel Tuanzebe, Ethan Laird, Andres Pereira, Tahith Chon and Facundo Pellistri. The players he got rid of permanently, obviously he did offload Daniel James in this year's summer transfer window. He's the only player Man United sold in this year's summer transfer window. Ollie also offloaded Igalo, Fossa-Mensah and Rojo in January. He also released Sergio Romero and Joe Pereira. He offloaded players like Young, Valencia, Smalling. That trio were long-serving players at the club. He also offloaded Darmian. He offloaded Fellaini back in January 2019. He offloaded Gomez, Herrera, Lukaku and Sanchez. And he also offloaded James Wilson and Borthwick Jackson. So they are the positives to take. But Ollie, was the 4th permanent manager to be sacked since Ferguson. Because since Ferguson, Manchester United sacked David Moyes after 10 months. He enjoyed a very short tenure. Man United finished 7th under the David Moyes era. He's one of the worst managers we've ever had. Of course, Man United sacked Van Gaal. We did win the FA Cup under Van Gaal. And Manchester United sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, was it? Mourinho did enjoy one good season at Man United because he did win 3 trophies in his first season. And of course, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was sacked on Sunday morning. And Man United are not even really known as a sacking football club, because we haven't got the structure to really keep sacking managers. But no matter who our next manager is, there won't be another Alex Ferguson. Alex Ferguson was the greatest manager of all time. Alex Ferguson brought success to Manchester United. He won 30 odd trophies, including 13 Premier League titles. But Fergie didn't settle in straight away, because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Man United. So that just shows you that it takes some managers time to settle in. Ferguson was at Manchester United for around 26-27 years, so he was a very long-serving manager. But since Fergie retired, Manchester United have been playing catch-up, and a lot of United fans predicted it was all going to go wrong when Ferguson retired, which obviously it has done. Players are going to be leaving Manchester United next year. I think Martial's going next year. I think Cavani's going next year. I think Mata's going next year. I think Lingard's also going next year, because recently it said Jesse Lingard's future at Man United is in doubt after talks over a new contract collapsed. Lingard's current contract at Man United expires next summer. Recently, he said Lingard could leave Man United for just £10 million. Better to cash in for him though, rather than let him go on a free next summer. I'm hearing that West Ham want to re-sign Lingard. Well, at the second half of last season, Lingard enjoyed a 4-month loan spell with West Ham, and he made an impact. I heard as well that Lingard wants to go abroad. Lingard doesn't really get in our team, does he? He's only made one start this season, that was West Ham in the Cup, but Lingard has been part of Manchester United for a long time. He risen up our academy, and that he's had his good periods at Man United. He's also had his bad periods as well. Donnie Van Der Beek, he's leaving Manchester United in January, because not so long ago Van Der Beek confirmed he'll be leaving in January. Van Der Beek has not been given enough game time at Manchester United, so reflecting on that, I haven't had much of a perception on him at United, but overall he is a good player. Van Der Beek is in contention to start tonight against Villarreal in the Champions League. Van Der Beek came on in the 4-1 defeat to Watford last weekend, and he made an impact. He scored. That's only his second goal though for the club, and he tried to make things happen, and he got in some good positions. Van Der Beek's endured what a difficult year and a half or so at Man United now. This season is his second full season at the club. I expect him to play though a hell of a lot more than he has done. At the end of the day, Man United got him for 40 million. I think it was like 35 million up front, 5 million in add-ons. Van Der Beek's got a contract to Man United till 2025. There's an option of a further year, and he's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. Paul Pogba, there's a good chance that he'll leave next year, because earlier on in the season it said Man United are prepared to sell Paul Pogba in the January transfer window. Pogba is missing the rest of 2021 because he's out with a thigh injury. He sustained the thigh injury in France training earlier on in the season. So Pogba may never play for the club again. I want Pogba to stay though at Man United, because Pogba's a good player. He's not only a good player, he's an imperative player as well. And Pogba did enjoy a good start to the Premier League season, He's got 7 assists so far in the league this season. He produced good performances for Man United in the last couple of months of last season, but at one point last season he was out with a thigh injury for a while and he sustained some ankle injuries at Man United. Pogba has had a long-running transfer saga. He's been linked to Real Madrid. His former club Juventus have been relentlessly linked. He did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus before he rejoined Man United. You know, PSG have been in for him, Barcelona have been in for him earlier on this season. It did mention that Pogba was offered to Barcelona, and Inter Milan have been in for him before. Pogba's agent Mino Raiola has been working hard now for quite some time to get his client to move away from the club. Pogba's our most expensive signing at the moment because we paid £89 million for him. And this season is his 6th season at Man United since he rejoined, and he's won 3 trophies at the club so far. We had him when he was a lot younger under Ferguson, but had to let him go due to limited appearances. Matic, I think he's also going next year. You know, Matic isn't one of our first choice midfielders, but despite that, he still seems to get his opportunities. And surprisingly enough, he's been ahead of Van Der Beek in our midfield. I think Matic is the only predominant centre defensive mid we've got. I've always had my reservations about Matic because he's always been a static midfielder and he's ageing up and all of that, but he has had his good games at Man United. He was obviously playing alongside McTominay against Watford last weekend and I thought he was poor. Matic has been at Man United for 4.5 years, paid £40 million for him from Chelsea back in 2017. Tellez, I think he's on his way out next year. You know, Tellez doesn't really get in the team. You know, Tellez will only play when Luke Shaw's not available. I ain't had much of a perception on Tellez at United, but in some of the games he has been involved and he's been consistent. He could be in contention to playing tonight's game against Villarreal because Luke Shaw sustained a head injury in the 4-1 defeat to Watford. You know, Tellez was out with injury earlier on this season. The reason we brought Tellez in was to provide competition for Shaw. You know, we got Tellez for 15.4 million from Porto. Diego Dalot, I think he's going next year as well. You know, he's another one that doesn't really get in the team. Dalot will only play when Bissaka's not available. Dalot's our backup right back to Bissaka. Last season, Dalot was out on loan with AC Milan. Reflecting on that, he gained some experience. Manchester United paid around 19 million for Dalot from Porto around 3 years ago. I think Jones and Bailly are going next year, and Dean Henderson I think is going out on loan. Well, Dean Henderson's already said that he wants to go out on loan because Dean Henderson doesn't get his opportunities now because De Gea reclaimed that number 1 spot back. So there you go, but like I say, you know, Manchester United have got some very, very good players. But the reason we haven't been getting the best out of a lot of the players is because we've been a team of individuals. You know, we haven't actually been playing as a team. That's been one of the biggest problems. And obviously the players weren't playing under Ollie anyway, but hopefully when we do get a new manager, you know, the team will start to perform. Because Man United should be winning the league this season. You know, we've got a title-winning squad. You know, Man United have not won the Premier League since 2013. Look who we've got, you know. What? Alright. There's big names in our squad, you know. You've got Ronaldo, the best player in the world overall. You've got Greenwood, big name. You've got Rashford, good player. You've got Fernandes, good player. You've got Cavani, good player. You've got Sancho, good player overall, but has been poor so far for Man United. But hopefully under a new manager we'll start to get the best out of Sancho. Sancho didn't really play a lot when we had Solskjaer, so he'd have been disappointed. Donnie Van Der Beek, good player, but doesn't really get enough game time. Maybe he could get more game time under a new manager. Pogba, good player. Shaw, good left back overall, but Luke Shaw's been very, very poor this season. I'm shocked in that aspect because last season Luke Shaw was superb. Hopefully under a new manager, Luke Shaw will regain his form. Maguire can be a good centre-half, but Maguire's been terrible this season, and he's been even worse since he came back from that calf injury. As you all know, Maguire got sent off in the 4-1 defeat to Watford. I think he's got a 3-match ban, so that means Maguire will be missing the games against Chelsea and Arsenal and that. They're big games for Man United. Hopefully Maguire will regain his form under a new manager. Maguire seems to play well though when he's alongside Varane. You know, we have got Varane, that's a very, very good centre-half, but he's out with a hamstring injury. He's out for another 2 to 3 weeks, is Varane. So second injury he's endured as a United player, because earlier on this season Varane was out with a groin injury. He was out with that groin injury for a few weeks, wasn't he? Yeah. You've got Eric Bailly, that's a decent centre-half, but doesn't get regular game time, does he? He's only made 3 appearances this season. Bailly lost his place in the team a while ago with the signing of Varane in the summer transfer window and Lindelof's being preferred to Bailly. Don't ask me why, because Bailly is a far superior centre-half to Lindelof. My only element of concern about Eric Bailly is injury prone. Towards the end of last season, he signed a new contract with Man United till 2024, with an option of a further year. Pisaka, defensively good, but the attacking side of his game is not so good. And you've got De Gea, that's a very good goalkeeper. De Gea deserves a lot of credit because he's done really, really well so far this season. So there you go, big names in there. You know, Manchester United must have spent over £1 billion since Ferguson retired. We must have brought a good 40 odd players in now since Ferguson retired. So anyway guys, there'll be more videos coming up later on today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. My channel name's Red Devil 24, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.